Welcome, Chris here from Videomaker, and you're watching our review of the PROMISE Pegasus2 RAID. If you've been producing video for any amount of time, you need to deal with your data. And with cameras shooting higher bit rates that are more affordable every year, you're gonna need some kind of solution. So the PROMISE Pegasus2 R2 system is a RAID with a pod that can be ejected and used by itself via USB 3.0 or within the actual enclosure itself via Thunderbolt. And then if you use USB 3.0, which is also part of the enclosure, you can only access the RAID by itself, so you have to actually have the two separate on two different USB cables, which are included along with the Thunderbolt cable. Now, you also have two other separate pods that you can buy separately, which is an HHD 1 terabyte drive, which is $170, and then the SSD pod, which just allows you to put in an SSD inside it, which is $50. And those, like I said, can be run separately from the enclosure using USB 3.0. Now, you can set the RAID up in either RAID 1 or RAID 0, and it's easy to do using the PROMISE utility. You just go in and you choose either RAID 1 or RAID 0. You choose it, it erases the drive, then you initialize it, and then it now is ready to go. We use the Blackmagic Design speed test for this data here, and we're going to show it to you while we're talking about the details here. So at RAID 0, we used USB 3. We had a write speed of 349 megabytes per second and a read speed of 346 megabytes per second. Using Thunderbolt in RAID 0, we had a write speed at 368 megabytes per second and a read speed of 371 megabytes per second. So now in RAID 1, which is of course mirrored, right? You're gonna have half the performance because you're actually writing the same data to two drives at the same time. So using USB 3 with a write speed of 186 megabytes per second and a read speed of 191 megabytes per second. Using Thunderbolt, we had a write speed of 185 megabytes per second and a read speed of 187 megabytes per second. Now using the HHD pod, we experienced using both USB and Thunderbolt, both the write and read speeds were exactly the same, and for both of the connections, as a write of 111 megabytes per second and a read speed of 111 megabytes per second. So pretty consistent there as well. Now, if we were writing from the SD to the RAID, so using an SD card, which we use the Lexar 1800X SD card, we had a write speed of 93 megabytes per second and a write speed from the RAID to the SD of 75 megabytes per second. So now let's get down to who's this for, what's its place in the marketplace, and do we recommend it? So who is this for? Now, if you have a need for a Thunderbolt drive and you might want to bounce between USB and Thunderbolt, and you like the idea that the pods are removable and you can use those using USB as well, so they end up being kind of individual separate devices, this might be for you. If all those options add up to a good workflow and fit into what you do, then this is the product for you, because there isn't anything like this out there in the market currently. But if that isn't something you need, so if you don't need both Thunderbolt and USB, and the pod does nothing for you, well, there is the G-Tech G-RAID. Now you can get it in 4 terabytes and 8 terabytes. It doesn't have the pod and it's Thunderbolt only, but that is $600 for 4 terabytes and $800 for 8 terabytes. So it's a little bit better price, but comes with less options. And then if Thunderbolt is not important to you, so you want to use USB, and of course the Glyph Studio RAID comes also with FireWire and eSATA connections, is the SR6000, and it's $500, and it is 6 terabytes as well. And it actually comes with a little bit better warranty, which is they'll replace your drives. They always are making sure the drives that go into their products are the best failure rate, so they have a really low failure rate. And then as well, they'll help you actually recover your data if there's any failure within their warranty period, which in PROMISE, they'll just replace hardware. They won't help you find the data itself. And as far as the Toshiba drives, although they have a good rating as far as failure rate, they are just partnered with PROMISE, so that they're always going to be Toshiba drives no matter what they're putting out. And that's $500 for 6 terabytes. So it's cheaper, but you get a less less options. You don't get Thunderbolt, you don't have the pods. So if you want a daisy chain, you want to be able to use that power of Thunderbolt, you have that. And then if the pods do anything for you, that's beneficial as well. So really, who's it for, who's it not for? It's all based on what options you require for your workflow. So if you're going for a low budget, you don't want to spend as much money, but you want big storage, you might want to use the Glyph Studio Raid SR6000. If you want to not have the pod, but you want Thunderbolt, the G-Tech G-Raid might be your option, and you can actually get a bigger one for about $50 more. But if you want the pod, if you like USB 3 and Thunderbolt as an option, you might want to get this product itself here. So would we recommend it? The question is, if this is what you need, then yes, we'd recommend it to you. And it's a great product. We used it. It was really easy to set up the raids and change and configure that. We did it multiple times throughout our testing. It was really easy popping in and out and using all of the different aspects of this product. They all worked just great. The actual transfer, write, and read speeds were fantastic for actually editing off of. Are they faster or slower than these other products? Well, that might be something you want to research if you're looking at those other products. This is a review for the Promise, so we have that data here. So would we recommend it? Yes, it's a good product. If you want to buy it, if you're thinking about buying it and you're on the edge of should I buy this or not, is it a good value? Yes, it's a good value if these options fit your need. So there you have it. That's our review of the PROMISE Pegasus2 R2 system. If you'd like to buy it and help support us make videos like these, there's a link in the description as well for the Glyph Studio Raid SR6000 and the G-Tech G-Raid. There'll be links for those as well. And if you like this shirt, I wore it because it kind of sounded like R2 Plus, R2D2, Star Wars, kind of a connection there. Well, if you like this shirt, I like it. Go ahead and you'll find a link to buy it in the description below. As always, like, share, and comment. We want to know what you think. I'm Chris from Videomaker, and until next time, keep doing the hard work that you do. Bye-bye.